Hey everybody, good evening. We smashed bookmakers again last night, and you can bet we're going back for more on Friday. All access customers last night took home another payday on the back of a 2-1 night, 2-0-1 night in college basketball and 2-1 in the NHL. And of course, our free plays hit again. That makes 7 out of the last 8 shows where we've produced a profit. So I hope everybody was able to tail. Welcome to Against the Public. I'm Dana Lane. We're the only show to analyze early betting patterns by the public, and we've done that once again with 3 more free college basketball plays for Friday as we go through and get to another winning card. Before I get to our free plays, I already, as usual, have my NBA 3-pack already locked and loaded for Friday. $49.99 gives you all 3 plays for one low price. And of course, that always comes with our Pick Dogs win guarantee that states you must profit or receive an immediate site credit for the purchase price. In addition, if you don't want to mess with the individual games or the 3-pack, of course, always have my all access pass locked and loaded. There is no time like the present. I always say the first of every month is a time to really get involved because you can buy that 30-day package for $10 a day, that 90-day package, which would take you right through the start of baseball season, less than $10 a day, and that annual all access pass you can get for $3.56 a day. Ensure that you will never miss another best bet winner from any sport again by getting involved with that all access pass. And if you're not an all access member yet, here's why you can't let another day go by without doing so. You need to have me all weekend long. We are going to have a fantastic month of March, just like we did on February. I always worried because I thought, well, February's, it's got 1 less or 2 less days, I guess, this year than, the 30 or 30 days, 31-day months, which I love, of course, the most. But, man, what a fantastic February we had. And members, all access members crushed 62% of their plays over the last week with 1,161 units won. Number 1 amongst cappers with at least 50 plays. Also 57% winners over the last 30 days, plus 2,272 units won. Number 1 amongst cappers with at least 200 plays. And of course, I'm still the number 1 overall handicapper on this website with 3,317 units won on the back of 56% winners. In the NBA, I'm on a 14-5 run. Number 1 over the last week, 55% winners over the last 30 days, 56% winners over the last 90 days, good for 1,528 units of profit, 55% winners in 2023-24 overall, 1,571 units of profit. In college basketball, 59% winners over the last 7 days, 62% winners over the last 30 days. That's produced 1,913 units of profit. 55% winners over the last 90 days, plus 1,691 units of profit. And this season combined, plus 1,201 units of profit. When you're choosing a capper for your bankroll, it never really matters the hype that they throw out. It never really matters the words. The record and the number and what you've done and your track record are absolutely measured in those numbers. So when you go to pick a handicapper this weekend, please take the numbers into account that I just showed you. And of course, you can go onto pickdogs.com every single day. Every one of those numbers are put up there, are put up. So it's totally transparent. Every pick that we give out is on Pick Dogs. Every handicapper has the same deal. So we're 100% transparent on pickdogs.com, and our record is up there, and it gets updated almost hourly, so you know exactly where each handicapper is to start the day. It is absolutely time for you guys to start getting serious about your March bankroll. Easy for me to say. It's time to get serious about your March bankroll because January's been awesome. February's been awesome. I told you this was going to be the best year ever, and so far it absolutely has. Get with a handicapper that's been doing this for over 31 years here in Las Vegas, and also the one that's number 1 overall on this website. That's really all that needs to be said. Let's get to our free winners for Friday. Let's start off with the Harvard Crimson versus the Brown Bears. Game number 857, 858, 7 o'clock Eastern time start. Brown -2 and 141 is your total. This number opened up at 142.5 and then was adjusted down to 141.5. I think we may see this number go down a little bit more after the larger markets are factored in. So wait until game time, or if you see a favorable number, one that's going in your direction, because I think that we will get there. The Crimson, as we know, are 14-9 to the over this season and now have cashed over tickets in 7 of their last 11 games, including last weekend when they took down Penn 74-70. Brown has leaned slightly to the under this season, but they have cashed 4 straight unders in 6 of their last 7. It's also worth noting that the average total in Brown's last 7 games was 146.5. We're dealing with a much more manageable number tonight. And in those 11 games, or in their last 11 games, if we use 141.5 as a total, 6 of those games would have went over the total instead of the 5-6 record that we see with the adjusted totals in those various games. So they've been going over 141.5 with a little bit of regularity. It's just a game over 500, but I think this is a very manageable number. So we're going to go over 141.5. If you can get a better number, be patient on this, because I think you will. I think we'll get down to that 140 range, maybe not 139.5, but maybe definitely 141-ish. If you can get 141, jump all over that. I think that's the best number that you'll get. And I misspoke, not 140, but 141. Game number 2, 7 o'clock Eastern Time, 8:59, 8:60. Marshall Thundering Herd versus the Georgia State Panthers. Panthers -3 and 152 is your total. Herd are 12-18 straight up with an ATS record of 11-18. And of course, one of those games which was against a D3 opponent, which did not count in the ATS records. They have failed to cover 6 straight, 7 of 8. But lucky for them, are also facing a Panthers team that faces pretty much the same issues. They've had a similar path this whole entire season. The Panthers are 13-16 straight up and 12-14 against the spread. They've failed to cover 8 of their last 12 games. When comparing these two teams, I think the Herd share the ball a lot better. I think they have a monster rebounder in Nate Martin, and there isn't one guy in the Panthers that I feel like that team can lean on. I would say Jonas Hayes can lean on, probably Lucas Taylor a little bit, but Lucas only averages a little bit over 13 points a game. It's a little bit inconsistent. Not really the superstar that Hayes needs in the lineup to be able to carry and elevate his team to the next level. I think these teams are very even, and you're going to give me 3.5 points with 2 teams that are very even, regardless of them having to go on the road. I think 3.5 is a very generous number. There are 3s out there, like I previously stated, but I'm looking at some numbers right now. It has jumped to 3.5. So Marshall, we're going to take Marshall plus the 3.5. And in game number 3, 7 o'clock Eastern Time, 8:61, 8:62. Old Dominion Monarchs versus the Georgia Southern Eagles. Eagles -3.5 and 152 is your total. Another game that's going in our direction and opened up at 150.5 here in Vegas. We're just going to sit back. We're going to watch in hopes of this number maybe getting to 153. I think it's a real possibility. We are going to use that consensus number of 152 for the sake of the pick, but I do think that this number will go up and give us a better number. We know the Monarchs have had an absolutely horrible season this year. They've given up 82 points in their last, and over 82 points in their last 3 games. And the Eagles have been an over team for most of the season, and that trend seems to be getting stronger as they go down the stretch. 6 straight overs in 7 of their last 8. We remember back to the first meeting this season that produced an under, but it was close. The Eagles pulled out a 76-70 win with a total being a 151.5. In the first half, both of these teams combined for 53 points before going nuts in that second half. So we know we have 2 teams that can produce low-scoring halves. We've seen it already this year. Once again, I think the books are right on with this number, but ODU shoots 42% from the field and just 66% from the free throw line. I can't rely on those numbers to push it over a pretty high total. I'm going to go under 152. So that does it for your 3 plays today. Please go to pickdogs.com. betbookie.com and get involved with my NBA 3-pack, my top 3 NBA plays for one low price. $49.99 gives you every single one of my plays, including that Pick Dogs win guarantee that states you must win or receive an immediate site credit for the purchase price. Either way, please make sure you get involved. Also, the all access passes, guys. Get a 30-day pass. Get the credit card, throw it on the card, and just sit back for the next 30 days and let me work for your bankroll. Let's see what we can do in the month of March. We've already done it the last 2 months, and really the last 5 or 6 months have been fantastic if we go back to football season. So go with a proven winner. You know my name. You know I've been in the industry for a long time. Let's have a fantastic 2024. So let's get back to our free plays. Let me recap them one more time. We're going to go over in the Harvard-Brown game. That's over 141.5. We're going to take the Marshall Thundering Herd plus 3.5 against Georgia State. And our final free pick of the day is going to be under 152 in the Old Dominion, Georgia Southern Eagles game. Coming up at 7 o'clock tomorrow. So that does it for today's show. Thank you to everybody who continues to grow this show. I also did want to answer a question too. Periodically, I get some really good questions in the chat boxes, and I had somebody ask me, well, when you're giving your units out as far as how much you want, and what is that based on? And it's always based on 100. I always stick with 100 because I feel like I'm good enough. I can hit 55%, and if you can hit 55%, you can manage your bankroll. You're going to make a lot of money. But I know some handicappers, and it's not a wrong technique. It's just some handicappers would rather put emphasis on a certain game or make a game more value. And I certainly do with that to an extent with my top whale winners. But the way that it's calculated on the website for every handicapper on the site is always based upon 100 units. So I like to kind of stick in there. Look, you up your bet on any with any consistency, and say you're putting 2 units on a game and you lose that game. I mean, you've got to go 3-1 just to overcome that loss. And if you're betting money lines in baseball or the NHL, I mean, you're laying $1.50 with a 2-unit bet. I mean, you could do the math. You got to win. If you're laying 2 units to win 100, I mean, you got to win 3 games, sometimes 4 games just to overcome that. And I like to stay consistent because I think my win percentage stays consistent. And if you lay $1.50 with 2 straight games, you're minus 3 units with 2 games, and you have to win 4 times. So you essentially have to win 67% of your wagers just to overcome a minus $1.50. So I like to stay right with a 1-unit play, and in that case, if I lose those 2 games, I'm only down by 2 units, and then I only have to win 3 games, which makes me have to win 60%, not 67%. So I always like to stay consistent. Everybody does a little bit differently, which is fine. But my suggestion to everybody with their bankroll is to stay consistent, because if you go 1-2 one night, it's only a 1-unit loss. But if you go 1-2 and you put 2 units on one game and 3 units on another game, and then you win the game that you only put 1 unit on, you're really digging yourself a hole, even though you're still 1-2. With me, I'm only down a unit, which is fine, and I only have to win my next game to essentially be even. And I always like to get those games, and you'll notice in the NHL and MLB coming up, I really stick to the totals as much as I can, because I want to get as close to that minus $1.10, sometimes less. I don't really want to deal with $1.50s and $1.60s. I've experimented with that in the past, and that is just, to me, and for my success, has not been a very successful technique. So I stick to the totals as much as I can, because you're going to get a fair shake with a minus $1.10 a lot of nights, $1.15, sometimes minus $1.20. Anything more than that, I think, is a little bit too much to lay, unless you're looking at getting the underdog. So that's kind of, I hope I've answered that question. I like to stay consistent. And in that way, even if I have a losing night, it's not a damaging losing night. It's not something I can't come back from. And then kind of on the flip side of that, if you lose a 2-unit bet, say you win a two-unit bet, no, flip that over again. If you lose a 2-unit bet, but you win 2 others, you're only even for tonight. If I go 2-1, I want to be profitable. So that's why I don't fluctuate too much with my units. It's stay in control. You control your bankroll. Don't let your bankroll control you. It's okay to go to bed with a loss because you wake up the next day and you have another shot. This is not defined by the day. This is defined by the wager. So be consistent. Stay positive, stay disciplined, which is the #1 word for success in this business, and you will absolutely find success. So for Against the Public, I'm Dana Lane. Let's crush them again on Friday. Let's have a great start to the month. We got a whole 31 days in front of us. We are going to have an amazing March. Thanks for joining me. All the best to you and your wagers on Friday.